Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic, aka Railworks. Today we're going to be taking we are going to be taking a look at a new route. Yeah, I get the words out eventually, but this is a new route available on Railworks America. It is a freeware route. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it up here because I can't pronounce it. Pogwassek Island route. We're gonna call it the island, but the Pogwassek Island route. So this little island route is really two routes built into one. They're both little short line railroads, but the idea is there's this little island off of, I don't know, Maine. I believe little Boston and Maine, the Maine Central, stuff like that. Pan Am's supposed to be the stock that's used up here, but it's supposed to be a little island that is serviced by a little short line railroad. And the island is completely cut off, so it is entirely an island route by itself. It has no big mainline connections or anything, but it also has a separate half, which would be the mainland over that direction, which does connect to a mainline railroad, and cars are taken two at a time by a ferry here from the island over to the mainland. Of course, it doesn't work that way in game. We unfortunately do not have animated barges like that, but that is the idea. But the railroad is, as far as the island goes, is supposed to be just kind of this little cut off, secluded island railroad. Your motive power is obviously going to be very small. Something along the lines of like the DTM 44 tonner, I believe, is what the route is meant for, as well as the H660, which is a freeware locomotive. But as you can see, I have a Baltimore and Ohio 040 here because I like steam, and it looks to be the perfect size for this little locomotive. I know it's a little bit wacky with curves. For some wonky reason, it does not like sharp curves, and I have not run it across this route yet. All my testing, I actually did it with a GP9, but of course you can get away with whatever locomotive you want. I did all my testing with a GP9 and the old G12s from now Diesel Workshop, but they seem to fit pretty nicely. But the island route is meant to be serviced by relatively small, lightweight locomotives, and the rolling stock is, according to the kind of lore, I guess, the rolling stock is also kind of transition era rolling stock, so it's supposed to be the smaller, lightweight stuff to fit on these rails, because it's meant to be lightweight rail. But yeah. So supposedly there was supposed to be some bridges that were being built that were going to be tried to connect the island, a couple of various other ways, and there are hints of it here, there, and everywhere, such as, I imagine this might have actually gone to a rail barge, but now that I think about it, it might have been something like that. But as best I can tell, the only barge we have for the rail now is right here. Cars are loaded and unloading, uses this crane, drops them off here, and then they go to the various little places. And it is a very, very well detailed route. It makes very good use of older assets. Most of the assets used in this route are from the old Portland Terminal route, which I believe has been renamed Maine Maritime. It's available for freeware. On Railworks America, it also uses, I believe, the virtual New Haven route. Some assets from that, some other some other stuff that I'm not going to list here. You can read the README files, but it makes really good use of some of those older assets. As you can see, it looks very nice, very well detailed, very well detailed. So let's take a peek down the line. Luckily, it's very small. Lord, that G12 is loud. But anyway, the island line itself is very small. There's a bunch of like little hints and whatnot. Like there were some old sidings and maybe some old industries and whatnot. So like right here, we've got an old water tower laid off in the ground. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of neat little scenes like that. And one of the things that really makes me happy is, while Railworks doesn't have the 3D trees like Trains does. Trains actually has far better 3D trees. The builder used 3D trees along the trackside, which really helps the image whenever you're running a train. There's a bunch of 2D trees still. They're all kind of filler, but trackside it's 3D trees, which I love. I absolutely love it. But very nicely detailed. We come to one of the first sidings here that's still functional. I'll pull up the map whenever I go back to the locomotive to kind of show what everything is, but for now we're just kind of going over the route. Doing it this way because you can only go so far in the camera free roam whenever you've chosen a locomotive, so we're going to go over these different directions first, and then we'll do some operations on the island line here. I don't know if it'll let me swap in between, but here's the largest industry that is still active on this little route. So this is supposed to be like a big gravel pit / mine. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. We'll look at it later. I just kind of use it as a little storage. But nice little things like these little extra buildings. Even took the time to lay this old telephone pole over. Now, the track does I do kind of get a kick out of it. I have no idea what this is for, but it is very sharp. I can't imagine that this actually went to standard gauge. This is just the wild grade here. I think this would have been better as a narrow gauge, in my opinion. It would have made more sense, kind of like a little mining thing. But as I said, it makes good use out of some older assets. It keeps you from having to buy or own or download multiple different routes. But very nicely detailed, and it does have a bunch of ambient sounds here, there, and everywhere. Unfortunately, there are no loader and unloader industries along this route, so you won't be able to load, unload, continue kind of operations, but plenty of switching to do. Here's a neat little scene. It looks like there used to be a bridge that went across here and continued out that way or something. The way it's done up, it actually looks like it used to be an old, like a mine. And it may have been. Or like a dump or something. The bridge goes across and you dump all this stuff off. But it is still it is still connected. but it has been blocked off. It does have some wacky track here. Might have a time trying to get that car out. And then it continues along. To our next kind of little scene. So we got a little sort of farm over here, which still has an active little set out. Use it for whatever one might need to ship out from a decent sized farm here. So it's got a little farm set out. She even has a character sitting here on the edge. Old Ford pickup. Overall, it's very nicely detailed. We even have the cows out here in the field. So, oh goodness, I don't know why. Every time it starts to go wacky loading, it makes me turn funny directions. But we continue out here to the end of the line as far as the island line goes, which kind of has I assume like a trash collection, trash, recycling, scrap, whatever would go in a gondola here. Has a little set out right here. It's got kind of a small yard, a couple industries here. One's not used anymore. This one's still connected, however the track is very wonky. Little yard, a locomotive servicing, well, a locomotive shed more than anything. There's no diesel pump or anything, but a freight shed. What I assume was supposed to be some old, an old locomotive shed. Now I will say, for doing any kind of switching around in this town, the church bells can get very old very quick because they never shut off. We hop over here. We got kind of some old track work here, other industry of sorts. It looks like a gravel area. We got a bunch of milk bottles. I don't know what they go to. Sad days. This is kind of cool. What I assume is the old train station. It's got kind of a display track here for whatever. It is cool. I don't see how it would have connected to the original track at any point. So it just, curved around. But boy, would you have some tiny passenger cars. But, oh well. Maybe it connected here. But stuff like that makes it really cool to just kind of look at it and wonder what the idea is behind it. Pretty big industry here. But so that's really all there is as far as the island line goes. So we'll make our way back so that we can go across the island. Boogity boo. Whoops. I go there that way. Boom. Follow the sound of the G12. So we hop across the way here, and we end up on what is, I assume, supposed to be the connection. So the whatever freight and whatnot that was over there would come across here on a barge and get unloaded. I assume here, since the dockside comes up to here and it's got a crane, and it is connected. Boy, that locomotive's loud. We'll come back over here in a minute. Actually, you know what? Yeah, whatever. So it is very nicely detailed again. Very, very nicely detailed. A lot of time had to have gone into, because it's got a ton of like little minute details here, there, and everywhere. We actually have people, so it looks like, you know, there's some life going on. We got some people on the sides here. Got active roadways. Got a few little active industries in here. It's just really, really neat. But this is the end of the line for this way. We boogie on out this way. Goes around. It's got what used to be, I assume, kind of an old oil facility. I assume it's not dilapidated, considering we got a big old cruiser over there, but who knows. Still got some of the old track work, and an old locomotive shed. So I guess a old passenger station right here, and then have a small yard. And we continue over to here to the another industry that is part of this little island, or this side of the island. It does still look active. I assume it's like gravel, sawdust, something. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I love all the ambient noise. All the random sounds and whatnot are just really cool. Everything but the G12 in the background, because we are an awful long way away to still be able to hear it, but oh well. Here we got another split. Another, I guess, active industry. What used to be an old industry. And we continue. Another old industry. Still got some old track work there behind it. Building there. Ton of detail. Really a ton of detail. Yeah, we even got an airport. Airport full of Cessnas. But it is an airport. And it is done up really nice. It is indeed done really, really nice. I do like it. You got the McDonald's over here. This looks like the old McDonald's from the Durango and Silverton route. Kind of a neat little town off over there. And what's nice about this, there's not a whole lot of milk jugs. I know a lot of the, unfortunately, a lot of the freeway routes that are available on Railworks America now, a lot of them are older, and some of the assets are hard to find or can't be found, and unfortunately leaves you with a bunch of milk bottles. But this is a brand spanking new freeway route, and it ain't got a lot of milk bottles. I haven't seen any since those on the other island. So as you can tell, this side of the route is much larger, but it doesn't have near the road switching that the island does. So if you're into the road switching and the industrial switching and such, the island is definitely your route. However, this kind of, the mainland section, it's got a nice kind of point to point with the train stations. Be really nice for like a scenic railroad or something. And it connects over here to a main line. So it's got some set outs. Now I do think the switches here are a little bit tight. That's pretty tight there. But outside of that, it does look really, really nice. We got a little bit of an industry right here. Got another one, well, maybe was a grain silo over here. But you got a little mainline section, goes out to there. The side goes over to here, so you can, get a decent train passing or whatever, if you know how to set up scenarios. But it's very, very well done, very good looking. And then the Y here to turn your train around. Now we continue back. So tons and tons of detail across this route. Absolute boatload. So let's see how well it runs. Make sure our tracks are set up. I don't want to run anything. Oh well. I find it just as easy to do it this way. Anyway. Got our locomotive set up. Click on our lights. There we go. Got our lights. Up! And there it goes, fellas. The ever famous out of memory error. Unfortunately, I believe that memory error is tied to the Baltimore and Ohio locomotive. It is fairly normal for me. However, I can't say for certain because trying to make this video, I've had 6 of these out of memory errors. No, I'm not going to edit this out just because, show you guys what you're diving into if you do get this route, because I cannot say for dead certain whether or not it's the route itself that causes me the out of memory errors or if it's the rolling stock. I know the G12 has caused it a few times. Well, at least as far as the motive power that I've used, the very first time I had the out of memory error with this route was when I was testing with the G12. As you can see, I've had the out of memory error using the 040. That has happened now twice. The other 4 times I used the GE 44-ton switcher twice and got out of memory errors. And I tried to use the DTM F3s and got out of memory errors twice with those. So I don't know for certain if it's the route or if it's the rolling stock that is causing the out of memory error, but it is. So just something to be aware of. It may or may not cause a lot of issues. It may or may not crash a lot for you. As you can tell, I could get through the route pretty easily without using a locomotive or anything, but the only locomotive that I've had success with on this route so far and not had a immediate out of memory error right after picking a locomotive is these H660s or the GP9. It's the only two that I've had the luck of using. So unfortunately, such as life goes, I can't do anything about that. All I can say is if it works for you, good on you. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. I can't do anything about it. But you know what? Screw it. We'll just hook it up over here. So it's just God, I wish G-Tracks would get some different sounds. Anywho, let's pop up our map here. Actually, new idea. Chugga-lugga-lugga-lugga. Let's get away here so that we can hear ourselves think. So, pull up the map. Here's our barge, the wharf for the barge. There's a cannery here. Of course, our yard. Garbage transload. Adams garbage transload. Old water tower. The island dump. We got the elevated quarry track. Don't know what that one's for. Pit loading for it's granite. That's what it is. Granite. Bellevue Monument Company, which I assume is talking about gravestones. Pretty common to be made out of granite. Processing, and then of course the yard. Continue down here, we got an abandoned that abandoned line that goes to that caved in bridge. Here's the farm, and then the end of the line over here, which has a that's the granite offloading, the ships, the big shipyards that's over here, monument offloading, your locomotive shed, MOW siding, the historical societies. The train station has got the little track right there in front. Bunch of yards right here. Freight house. So, and garbage. That's right. It's garbage. Then we hop over here to the main island, or to the mainland. Main island. Yeah. The brewery. There's a wharf, cannery, and then the train car wharf. Run around right there. Hop over here. This is the old roundhouse. Of course, the yard. Fur Point Marine Terminal, wood chips and road salt. Precision manufacturing, textiles of sorts. Abandoned. The airport. And then the end of the line right here. So it's not too terribly big. Truth be told, on either side you could get away with running end to end pretty quickly. It's a pretty quick learn, I guess. Yeah, gross. Can we open the back door? We can't. Yeah, look at there. I believe most of the island is about 15 to 20 mile an hour. Yeah. About 20 mile an hour, which is not bad. Yeah, you're not gonna be a speed demon on the island. Anywho, when the route works, it works quite nicely. I would much prefer to be able to run this route with a steam locomotive, but unfortunately, boy, there's some wacky sounds that come from this locomotive. But unfortunately, our steam locomotive didn't want to play nice, so anyway, so that's a nice route. It's well worth checking out. Like I said, it is freeware, so you're not out anything if you don't like it. But I think you might like it. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of a neat take on a freelance railroad. Just kind of a little bit of a breather from the ridiculously long routes that most normal people can't just sit and run the entire length of. You know, it's a nice little end to end to do a little bit of tinkering. So it is available on Railworks America, so do go check it out. It's well worth it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.